let you know when we're live. And we are
live on this wonderful Friday. Welcome to Black History Month.
Hell yeah. Woo! Hell yeah. I love my, and it's with a heavy heart that we have to report Carl Weathers died.
Carl Weathers.
Shit, fuck.
Rest in peace, Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
This guy, the Russians just fucking, they just won't stop. First Apollo Creed, then Ukraine, now Carl Weathers.
There is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. But there is a guest on the show today.
R.I.P. Now there is no tomorrow.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers. All joking aside, I'm a huge Carl Weathers fan. Played in the NFL. One of the best character actors of the 80s and 90s. Reinvented himself as a comedic
5 minutes
actor.
ago when I told him. This is breaking news.
This is breaking news. I'm
People
really
watching
upset.
live probably just learning this.
Really upset.
Yeah.
But
Bummer.
we have to, for Chubbs, we have to soldier on.
Soldier on.
We have to soldier on. We are joined today with a titan of industry, Kent Emmons, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on?
It is great to be here with you crackers.
Yeah.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on with you guys?
We're doing all
You
right.
dropped the
you
C word
got-
off the jump.
yeah.
I like
Oh,
it.
totally.
Hell yeah, brother.
I didn't
Listen.
realize we were scheduling the whitest guest we've ever had for Black History Month, but, you know, it's not intentional, all right? It's not intentional. It's just this is how he's a very busy man. This is how the schedule lined up.
Yeah.
So busy.
So busy.
So
very
busy.
busy guy. Yeah.
Great voice.
Busy sitting in traffic.
The coffee,
things like that.
I didn't put any cream in my coffee, though, so ally.
The coffee's black. There you go. Love
And
it.
you guys
I love
this
it.
show is exploding.
Hey, we're
I
rocking.
mean, it's
man.
unfucking believable, really.
Really,
it really
appreciate
is.
It. Thank you for
yeah.
saying that, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Speaking of, you know, I like to think, you know, Mickey is a hilarious guy. It actually pisses me off. I'm supposed to be the funny guy on the show, and everybody thinks he's the funny guy on the show, which pisses me off. He can't be the handsome guy and the funny guy, right? So I guess I'm going to have to become the handsome guy here. But it can't just be us, right? It's got to be a community. You've been doing this for a really long time.
100 years.
It's all the audience. It's
Yeah.
all how the audience interacts with you. And one of the things that I love, you know, I used to hate reading the comments on stuff, but our fans are hilarious.
Yeah.
They're some of the funniest, most rancid human beings on earth. Pull up some of these comments, Chris. Look at the comments that we
hey,
got.
maybe play the clip, because what is this in reference to? People don't know.
Yeah, play the clip. Play the clip. Play the clip, Christian.
Play the clip and start from
Play the fucking clip, Christian.
Hey,
Sorry,
turn,
Chris.
Turn to girls' post bikini pictures. Do you zoom in on their? If you could see a little labia or flabia or flip flop
it's
popping
what-
through, or a clitoris,
It's 100% the time.
it's every time.
It's every time.
So girls,
I'm outraged.
just know when you post bikini pictures, you have this going like this.
Yeah. You had some Karens in the comments
Trying to
coming
figure
at
out
you, boy.
how to hold
Yeah.
it.
So that the reel doesn't leave.
I'm an Gerard's
ally.
half drunk on the fucking couch, one eye squinting, like
that's a-
open it up,
Nope.
and then he goes, "Oh yeah."
No, that's a best case scenario. That's a best case scenario. Normally, I'm checking to see whether or not you got a lip hanging out while I'm mid. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it all the way real.
Disgusting.
Get a load of this disgusting pig. You rancid good sir.
So much worse.
So much worse.
That's an image.
That is an image, Christian.
Christian
Let's
with
see some of
a
them
great drop
comments.
in there. Christian with a great
Yo,
drop
and
in there. at the
Christian
end.
might have been my favorite comment. I think his comment was like, "That's kind of romantic."
Read out some of the comments and then who they're from
we'll
there,
get to the
Christian.
comments here. I commented, actually kind of romantic.
Actually, kind of romantic.
Mick
That cracked
commented,
me up.
PSA to all you women, the more you know. We got
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm outraged. I can't believe this, Gerard. As you know what I mean?
Ken, are you a zoomer?
I'm
Are you a zoomer?
Huh?
Do you zoom in?
Do I zoom in?
Do you get zooming when you see like a nice bikini pic? Do you do a little?
Don't ask him.
You
that.
do a little inspection. What's going
no,
on?
you know what? Is my phone good enough to do that? I should. I ought to do that.
I like
some,
it.
some of these are
I think he
fantastic.
capped
I like it.
I think he
I
capped
like
it.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
does it do that?
I don't know how phones
I don't
work.
know how
Let's
phones
take a
work.
let me take a look at this. Let me see what I have on here, dude. I do zooming live. Don't you do it live? You're in a restaurant or
Oh,
you're
yeah.
at a pool or whatever, and you go, oh hey,
Wow.
why the pic? You
Hey.
do it live.
Yeah, I like.
Wow.
What kind of peeping toms are you guys? You know what kind of
Ah,
pervs
go
are
up and take
you?
a
Guys are
look.
amateur perverts.
Yeah, you gotta-
Wow.
you gotta bring it up a level.
There's nothing better
Wow.
than when you see a nice tush. You got to share it.
Oh, totally.
It can't just be with you. You got to be like, hey,
Yeah.
you want that?
Richie P's the king of that.
Yeah,
I think I've said it on here before.
Give it a little like.
Hey.
Now, where were these? Out on the beach here?
Oh yeah. This Florida,
Really?
man. Florida,
Love it.
South Florida's.
Love it.
Yeah, it's all right. What
No,
what other
we're
comments do
talking
we
about-
have going
no,
on there?
We're talking about Gerard zooming in on like Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like looking.
Oh,
close,
got it.
Yeah,
Looking
they-
in.
look,
Oh,
you know
so
what
you're
I mean?
you're actually talking like picture zooming in, not,
Yeah.
not out at the
And
beach
I'm
zooming in. Got
first
it.
of all,
Nah.
I'm
Got it.
disgusted. I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a real feminist.
Yep.
I can't believe this is not what they're looking for. You're gross.
That's horrible.
You're fucking sick.
Don't
dude.
objectify these
You're
women who are
sick, dude.
objectifying
You're sick.
themselves. How dare you,
You're
sir?
sick.
All right, what other comments we got there, Christian?
All right, we got-
I wanted to read comments from the fans. He goes, "Well, this is my comment." Come on, Chris. What are the fans
Well,
saying,
let's give it
baby?
to him, all right? I got to read the best two first. Freeman.Carvalho says women, know we going to do that. Women love attention. Remember, this is their game.
It could
Okay.
be
You're
true.
beyond to something.
We got
It do be true.
RKJ 1775. 5 years ago, I was because I'm a perv. Now it's to make sure it's a chick. That's a banger. That's a great comment.
You gotta, hey, can't be too safe these days, man. You can't. You gotta zoom. You gotta make sure it's an innie, not an outie. You know?
I got a good one. 79 Ryan Arthur says, if it helps, I'm having a shit while watching this right now.
Well done. Well done.
doesn't?
We aim to be the go-to entertainment of the shitting public. Whenever you're taking a dump, guys, please think slick and thick.
I feel like if you're doing that, you're taking lazy dumps.
Lazy-
Like I'm in there. I'm all about business.
That's it.
I'm assuming like a.
You're
like
sitting
a
on
deep
business.
Squat. I'm on a deep squat, bro.
Uh.
I'm not even fucking. I'm not just sitting there fucking ding, ding, ding. You know what I mean? I'm very athletic, very efficient.
Oh, you keep the cheeks
I'm in
above
there
the
and I'm-
above the.
I'm
never
mostly hovering, bro.
waste an opportunity to get some work in, huh?
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm trying to build this core and build
Yeah.
these fucking quads. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
hitting that deep squat.
You get and you
Yeah.
don't so no tush on the toilet then.
Not really, no.
Really? Doesn't that leave too much
But
space
that's
for
the
the
thing, but
turd to
that's-
come up and get some get
You
some splatter?
you could deal with splashback. You gotta kind of like it's kind of like riding a horse though.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of
Are these-
adjust for what you're going, for what you're
Ken,
getting.
are these the same types of conversations you have with Judge Gene when you're driving? Or-
Typically.
Yeah.
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 A lot of queefing things.
Lot of
Yeah, you get that age. Yeah, so there's turd plopping and that.
Turd
Little
plopping.
escapes.
Mm.
Little
I-
escapes of gas from either hole.
I can't imagine Judge Gene getting turd plopped, but hey, everybody poops, guys.
Everybody poops.
Everybody
Everybody
poops.
plops.
You saw the
Everybody
book, right?
plops.
Everybody poops. There's that
Everybody
little kid's
poops.
book. Yeah.
Everybody plops. I
Sometimes.
do you do the squatty
You
potty?
gotta
though?
get in the,
You ever done the squatty
but listen,
potty?
if it's
Yeah, we
especially if
sold
you're
a
at
lot of
home.
those.
I have.
You
but if
sold squatty potties?
Oh, shitload of them.
If you're-
Literally. Literally. I didn't even thought
That
we
was
did.
good.
Those things. You know what people don't realize is how constipated they are until they get one of those squatty potties, and all of a sudden they're like totally flushing out, and you're going, holy shit. And they're paying like, $60 for them.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
For a
piece of
stool?
molded plastic.
That's
It's
that's
nuts.
American opulence right
Yeah.
there. Like you could just get a brick, get 2 bricks,
Yeah, totally.
get a cinder block.
Yeah.
But no, squatty potty, $60
True.
from the guys who made Slap Chop. You know,
I use them.
whatever happened with that guy?
Who,
Slap nuts.
Vince?
Yeah, you
Didn't he-
know
I think
Vince?
he
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
a
You know
hooker.
Vince?
Yeah.
Get
We're in
outta
the
here.
infomercial business. We know all those guys.
Wow.
I think he bit a hooker.
Yeah, something. I think that story ended poorly, right? With Vince.
I think he bit a
He
hooker.
I don't
made,
think
he
it-
made
I don't
the
think it was
single worst
good.
movie
Or
of
a
all
hooker
time.
might have bit him, and I think he made her pay.
Well, I'm being dead serious. I'm not even making fun. He made what is, by all intents and purposes, the single worst movie ever made. It was him.
Really?
The
he
Room?
Took all. No, it's worse. Like one of the reviews on this is this makes The Room look like Citizens Kane. So like, fucking, he paid Lindsay. Like, he took all that slap shop money. I guess he always wanted to be a movie star. He did it. He went. He made
Is that
himself
true?
a movie.
I didn't know that.
And
I knew there was
apparently
a
it was
hooker thing,
so
and then
bad.
he kind of got 86 by the infomercial business. They were like, yeah, I don't think we can take you on.
Wow.
And then he kind of got dropped.
What happened with Billy
Yeah.
Mays? I was so shocked when it turned
He
out
died.
Billy Mays was a
He
wild
died.
man, apparently.
Huh?
A wild man.
He-
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Great dude. Yeah.
Billy Mays here.
He's in love with the coke.
Whatever Billy Mays was selling, I was buying.
He was great.
That guy was worth watching.
He stood up on an airplane, bumped his head really hard, and they think it was from that injury that he ended up with like a hemorrhage or something.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's
that
what
sounds
they
like
think.
foul play,
Yeah.
dude. That
Yeah.
sounds like foul play.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the whole Arturo Gotti thing.
What?
They said Arturo Gotti like slipped and fell in Brazil. It's pretty obvious his wife killed him.
Yeah.
She was like a Brazilian citizen, and he had like his head was like bashed in. There's
Is that
something
true?
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They
There's
said
something
he
weird.
fell on the tub.
They
or
said he
something like
fell,
that. It was
and then there was something else. What homeboy from Full House? But it was very
Who, Bob?
inappropriate.
Bob
Bob, you mean?
Saget?
Bob Saget.
Well,
He
I
just
think
had
I
something
think
funky.
Bob.
That
I
was
really believe.
autoerotic
I really believe
fixation.
Bob
He
was.
autoerotic like David Carradine?
No.
No?
No. And Bob died
Don't
actually just up here
me.
here
That
in
was
Orlando.
Gerard.
No,
Me and Carol Ann, who you bet in Nashville
Yeah.
with me, we performed at the Orlando Improv the night before Bob Saget was supposed to perform.
Really?
Yeah.
Bob was a great friend. I'll tell you what, I really believe, and no one will say it, his wife started to come out and say something about the vaccine because Bob got really sick off the first one. And a lot of these comedy clubs, not so much the Improv, but some of the off-brand clubs where he was already booked, kind of getting ready to work out a Netflix special or something, made him have the vaccine. And you know Bob, greatest guy on the planet, more money than God, would not cancel a show if there was 2 people or 1,000 people.
That's
He took the
admirable.
vaccine, made him sick as hell, got on that flight, came down to Orlando, and then, went to sleep.
And that was
may
kinda
have
at
fallen
that-
down as well.
That was at that time when you're not allowed to say that the vaccine was killing people.
You're still
Correct.
not allowed to say
Yeah.
it, which is nuts. Like we'll probably get
Really?
demonetized on this episode for
Really?
that, but it's like imagine
demonetize
getting
this
mad at
over
us
here.
for talking about that instead of doing everything you possibly can to find out whether or not it's true.
Yeah, how about help people?
How about,
All right, can I give you a stat?
Yeah.
63% of the advertising dollars on Fox News comes from pharmaceutical.
63%.
63. So you're never going to get a news outlet until Crave News comes along. You're never going to get a news outlet that tells you the truth about that. They're never going to do that.
Well,
And you go on Fox as a guest. Back then, when the vaccine was a big controversy, you're on as a guest. You're starting to talk about COVID or whatever. You start to hint about the vaccine in your ear. The producers, yeah. Back off of that. Back off that.
really?
Yeah, of course. Are you kidding? It's the goose that laid the golden egg for Fox, MSNBC, all the network newses.
Well, that's why
NBC, ABC, CBS.
I hope they never change because that's why the people don't listen to them and
Correct.
they listen to Slick and Thick, the podcast. The people. This is why they're going to
And
listen to Crave
Crave
News. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
and that's why we also like to tell them about the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company. If you go to TWC.HEALTH /Slick N, the letter N, Thick, you're going to get 10% off of some of the most important things that you can have. The Wellness Company never, ever, ever
You know what?
puts
I'm gonna eat
profits
one
over
right
people.
now. You can watch me. Do
Yeah, the Wellness Company has all the products that you need. If you go, you got to be prepared for the next crisis. If you go and you click right there, Slick and Thick, it's going to take you into a telehealth
Sure.
system, and everything you need: ivermectin,
thanks.
antibiotics, Z-Packs. It's better to have it and not need it, folks. Also, the best multivitamins on the planet. Check out TWC.HEALTH. They'll never put profits over people.
Can I tell you something about
Yeah.
the Wellness Company people? I know these guys, and they're great guys. They're based on – this is going to sound like a pitch, but it's not. What's interesting about this is you go back to the 2020, actually 2019, and they had that meeting in October, and they were talking about, the COVID. They were talking about some disease that was going to come up and about. COVID happens. It makes the news. It's crazy. No one knows what to believe. Medicine's pulled off the shelves. You can't get medicine. It was nuts. I mean, the whole thing, of course, just a big farce. But you couldn't get erythromycin. You couldn't get Z-Pack. You couldn't get, certainly you couldn't get
Ivermectin.
ivermectin and some of the others. You couldn't get it.
Well, it's for horses
And-
anyway, right? I mean,
Yes, but
I know doctors.
don't get me started. So here's what's interesting about this. So now, and that was at that meeting in 2019. It was the World Economic Forum. Creepy bastards. I mean, the creepiest bastards on the planet. So now, just a few months ago, last month, was it December or November? They start talking about disease X.
Yeah,
This big thing.
I saw that.
So here's the thing. The reason I love the Wellness Company is you can go there and you can order you can get all the antibiotics. You can get your ivermectin.
Yeah.
Don't fucking wait until they pull this shit over. Don't leave your house. You can't get this. You can't get.
No.
So Wellness Company, very credible, really, really good folks. But they've got an actual package put together with all that stuff. I got it for me and everybody in the family.
Yeah,
I mean, I would.
It's better to have it.
How do you
not
get
need
it? Is it Wellness?
If you go to TWC.HEALTH, and then if you go /Slick and Thick, you're going to get 10% off, and we have access to all those the telehealth services that you're talking about as well.
Got it. And don't listen. Again, not a pitch. Don't fuck around. Get the medicines.
Yeah, better be safe than sorry, right?
Well, listen, there were a ton
Stay
of
ready,
people.
don't gotta get ready.
Had we known about this, March the 15th, when the world shut down, 2020, had we known, I would have literally stocked my stuff. Look at this. Got it right there. He's non-essential.
Non-essential. Never forget that.
I know doctors who take ivermectin like every other week just to stay away. just to prevent, like as a preventative measure.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So like it's not like I didn't know if it was bad for you. I was like, I mean, I guess I'll take it if I got COVID.
Yeah, because the news made it seem like, you know,
But
this is...
it's nothing. Yeah, doctors take it all the time just because since they're interacting with sick people and stuff,
Yep.
as a preventive. Like every other week, I think certain doctors take it. It's a part of their regimen.
And I'll tell
But you can get it in these TWC kits,
They
and they're
put
gonna
it
give
in
you a bunch
kit,
of other
you can
stuff.
travel with it. You can do the whole thing.
Fantastic.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what else, too. We were out at SHOT Show last week. Really, really impressive that was. And we
We
met
had to
with
shake so many hands.
just a lot of handshaking. We spoke with some border agents that are down there. And you talked about Disease X. What they're most concerned about is there's no idea to know who's been infected with what and is coming across the border, and then you can't track them. You don't know where they are.
Right.
And, I mean,
Or what they're carrying in a bag to unleash.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. And again, is it going to be a big farce like COVID, or is it going to be something real this time? You know, COVID was just nonsense. Who knows what it is? Whatever.
What do you mean by
you
COVID was nonsense?
Well, think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it really was nothing more than the flu. Unless people were, you know, sadly, some people got stuck in the hospital. They shoved a thing down their throat and killed them. The ventilator. And they said, you know, do not let them vent you. I'll tell you, did you guys get vaccinated?
No.
Fuck no.
No, I didn't either. And so it's interesting, you know.
Pure bloods.
Huh?
Pure
Same
bloods.
here. By the way, big premium for pure blood sperm right now. It's like a black market kind of thing. But they're looking for guys that have not been vaccinated. Big shortage of that. We'll talk about it in a minute.
How do
but
wait.
No one could raise my child but me. He'd be too powerful.
How do you know about the sperm black market?
I got hit up. I'm not kidding you. Some lawyer in Los Angeles who's representing women who are looking for, you know, good, I guess, good. So,
what type of lawyer is this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Why didn't I get a
Crazy
call?
shit.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
So anyway, go back to.
It's like I didn't want to do it. I just wanted the invitation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just wanted to be asked.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna go to the party, but I wanted to at least be invited. You know what I mean?
I'll send you the number. She'd probably like you.
You know,
I'm not gonna do it.
I'd drop a dime in the box for humanity. You know?
I think they're paying pretty big dollars for it, actually.
Yeah. Oh, Kent, by the way, if you think you're going to be able to complete a full sentence anytime in the next hour, God bless.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah.
So all right. So the vax thing. So you can't believe anybody here because the doctors are all kind of the slaves of the pharmaceutical companies, the big healthcare companies. Unless you're going to a really high-end private practice, they're all get the vaccine because they're being pushed down. You know.
Yeah, they're corrupted.
You know, I've been getting my health care done in Bangkok, Thailand. It's the #1 international hospital in the world. 15 years, and they don't. You know, they have all the pharmaceuticals, but they don't take their marching orders from pharmaceutical companies. So I called my doctor over there and I said, "Listen, this vaccine, what do I do?" And he said, "Well, let me tell you." He said, "At the time, I was 55. He's been my doctor for 15 years. He said, "You're 55 years old." He said, "Here's what can happen if you get COVID. If you get COVID," he goes, 90% chance you won't even know you have it. It'll come and go. You'll never know. And he said, if you do feel symptoms, it'll be like the flu, and it could be like a bad flu if it really gets bad, but no worse than the worst flu you've ever had. He said so. He said so. There's really no risk. He said, and your risk of dying is almost zero. He said, now the vaccine. Let's talk about that. He goes, and he says in his Thai accent, he goes, I don't know what the fuck is in this. He goes, there's your risk.
Oh,
he said, you tell me.
Yeah.
But he said, I'm not taking it. I'm not. But if my clients want it, I'll give it to them. But that's your risk reward. So
your Thai doctor's accent sounds remarkably American.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, a little bit.
He's done a good job of that.
Oh, you mean it's like do something where I totally get canceled?
Oh, come on.
It's so weird because like we've all gotten the flu before, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna live my whole life like I hope I don't get the flu.
Yeah.
You know,
Shut everything down.
A mask and
Shut it down.
Nobody go anywhere. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
dude, it's
fucking
insanity.
cold.
Not only that, but he talks about the corruption, the perverse profit incentive of everybody who was admitted with COVID, right? Every hospital that admitted somebody with quote unquote COVID, regardless of what you had, they got $18,000, no questions asked from the government, $18,000, and if they put them on a ventilator,
yes,
$48,000.
Yep.
No questions asked.
Yeah, and bigger markets, bigger dollars.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. There was massive incentive. And most of these people did not in any way, shape, or form need to be, one, hospitalized, or two. But the hype was so big, people were just freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, they're dying. Well, it was all nonsense.
Yeah,
and
now
of
they're
course
trying-
now it's coming out.
Well, they're trying to go with the whole plausible deniability route, like, oh, we did the best we could with the information we had at the time. No, you
Yeah.
fucking didn't.
Yeah.
Because the what's his name, the he/she that's like the Surgeon General of the United States,
oh,
moved.
the beautiful Rear Admiral Marine.
Yes, yes.
What is Rear Admiral
Moved-
Levine? Right.
Levine, that's right. Moved her mother out of a nursing home the day before she locked down nursing homes in Pennsylvania when she was running the health in Pennsylvania. She moved her mother out of the nursing home 24 hours before she locked down all the nursing homes. So don't give
See,
me
I
this
didn't
shit.
know that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Look it
it's
up,
terrible.
Christian. Look it up.
Interesting.
Don't tell me this. Oh, we did the best we could with what we had. No, you fucking didn't. You absolutely did not.
Yeah.
You were telling everybody to mask up, that this disease was going to kill all of us, and then Nancy Pelosi is, when everything's closed, forcing the fucking hair salon to stay open so she can get a blowout before she goes on
By
TV.
the way, night before last, I was out with Erica, the gal who owned that hair salon.
No way.
Yeah. So she now has a salon in Franklin, Tennessee. And so TJ Chang and Erica and I were out for drinks the other night down at the Harpeth. And I'd met her quite a few times but never gotten to know her. And we spent, 3 or 4 hours having drinks, talking about the whole thing with Pelosi.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting what a patriot she is. She didn't turn, and she is a conservative, but she didn't turn her in because she's a conservative. She turned her in because of the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
She said, are you fucking kidding? Here's this lady, Nancy Pelosi, blowing all this nonsense out, taking millions of dollars from pharmaceutical companies and making tons of money off her pharmaceutical company stock trades.
Oh, is her husband the
Yeah.
greatest stock trader of all time or what?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole
It's a
nother
wizard.
That's a whole nother
Crazy.
thing too.
Guy, what is he?
And
280% above the market for the
Yeah,
last 5 years?
crushing
That
it.
guy's
it's
amazing.
insane.
So similarly
But-
to the pharmaceuticals being shitty, like I heard with like cancer and stuff. So 4 out of my 4 grandparents all got cancer. So odds are I might get that one day. I heard if you fast for 7 days, every like twice a year, it could be a really good preventative measure. And then if you get cancer, if you fast for 21 days or more, it can kill that cancer and it could go into remission. It's happening in a lot of people. I've talked about that before on this, and I've followed up on it, and I'm seeing more and more cases of it.
Well, that's more Eastern medicine than Western medicine. Western
But the
medicine is
pharmaceutical
taking pills.
companies, I think if they had a cure for cancer, they wouldn't use it. They're
No,
making
they-
too much
they would
money
never-
on
There's
it.
no money in fasting.
So to your point on that one, very interesting. If you can starve your body of sugar, the cancer has nothing to eat because cancer eats sugar and
Is that
grows
right?
with sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you some funny stories about this here in a minute.
About
But
cancer?
About not hilarious,
Go
not
for it.
hilariously
Go
funny
for it.
stories, but
I love a good cancer joke.
God.
What?
So
Anything for a little easy weight loss for you, huh?
but the
It's
the
cheaper
fasting
than
thing is
Ozempic.
interesting. But one of the biggest things with cancer, though, right now is the people who have been vaccinated. This cancer is multiplying like crazy within these people. So one of the biggest and it's really bad. So the people who have had cancer or people who had cancer was dormant, didn't know it. A lot of the ones that got the spike protein is really out of control. So do the research on that. You'll see it. So the biggest thing in medicine, especially with
New
higher
York Times told me don't do my own research.
Yeah, do not do that.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
on the New York Times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
don't do it on
You're
that.
not qualified to research.
That was literally their point. They're like,
Yeah.
you're not even qualified to do the research.
Yeah.
You just have to
Who do you think
listen
you
to
are?
us. Who do you think you are? Do what you're told.
Did you go to Harvard?
I did not.
All right.
I
So
did
exactly,
not.
you
Yeah.
don't get to research.
Yeah, shut up
You're an idiot.
and fucking,
Yeah.
mind the fucking fields, pleb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, as you
So
were saying.
no, so if you did get vaccinated with the spike protein vaccine, you want to make sure you're detoxing. One of the biggest places or biggest things going on in high-end medicine right now is getting detoxed if you can from the vaccine.
And that's
because it's
where the
causing-
fasting and
How
stuff
do you
like
do
that.
that?
Well, the fasting's one. So you were talking about the wellness company earlier.
Yeah.
They actually have something that can help you detox that spike protein, which is really interesting.
Yeah, we got it right here.
But do you?
Yep.
Yeah, and
Dr.
that,
Van
Oh,
Orders.
that's the spike support?
Yeah.
yeah, and that does help a lot. They've got clinicals, I think, on that and stuff. It does help you a lot. But that's the biggest place in medicine for higher end medicine is detoxing from the vaccine right now. But you were talking about the fasting. I had a friend of mine who had gotten diagnosed with cancer, stage 2, and he ended up doing 4 months of nothing but beef broth because you have to get the sugar out of your system. It had
Right.
nothing to live on. The cancer went away. I had another friend of mine, actually the guy who
Let's
started
go.
T.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah, the guy,
man.
my
Mickey-
buddy.
Mickey's dick is so
My
hard.
dick is
on
There-
the
my
there
dick
it
is
is,
as
see?
hard as yours was for him coming on today.
Harder
Dick
than
is so
Final
hard.
Jeopardy.
We're playing fucking. We're like Luke Skywalker, and I don't know. I'm not a nerd. Who'd he fight?
Oh,
Darth
God.
Vader.
If you say
With
anything about
swords?
fucking walking on the ground barefoot, he's gonna
I'm gonna
nut.
ejaculate.
He's gonna nut.
Well, with his voice,
He's gonna nut.
I'm gonna fucking jits all
Yeah.
over the fucking
We're gonna-
table.
We're gonna
Hey, can we get those
we're gonna
raincoats
have
over there?
some, we're gonna have
Give us
some
the
pure
raincoats.
blood for
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah.
Some pure blood for sale.
Yeah, there's gonna be people out there with colanders. Yeah.
Do you like walking? Is walking a good thing? What do you think about mushrooms? Did you guys just become best friends?
Yeah. Basically.
This shit.
Is that a shroom or is that actually just a gummy from?
There's only one way to
no,
find
no,
out,
no,
Kent.
yeah.
There's only one.
There
That
you
Well,
go.
pop that.
that
Here we
drive's
go.
not that long. You'll
Ah,
be fine. Yeah, this is a new segment of multivitamin or gummy on Slick and Thick. Shit. So man, you're a worldly dude, Kent. Man, what? So you obviously, reading the bio, you've been an entrepreneur since you were 10. You were, mowing
Yeah,
lawns and
lemonade
everything, with
stand,
lemonade
huh?
stands, all that stuff.
Yeah, mowing yards though was the best gig. That
Why
was
is
the
that?
best gig I've
You were
ever
doing
had.
like 25 yards or
yeah.
something.
Well, think about it. You're out there. You start.
He's
Before
walking.
it gets too
He
hot.
could be grounded.
in southern LAC.
A lot of vitamin D.
So much vitamin D.
You got the vitamin D. No, you think about it. So, what do you think about when you're like in high school, like
Pussy.
grade school? All you think is about pussy, right?
Yeah.
All right. So think about this: you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you mow 6 or 7 yards, you get $10 to $20 a piece for them, and it's cash, non-taxable.
Yep.
You do a great job for them. By noon, you go home, eat a sandwich, and you head to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Now, my other buddies
You got
are
a good tan. You've
Yeah,
got.
they're out there.
And you're
They're out there
ripped,
for
you're lean.
Yeah, back then, I think minimum wage was $2.35, and so
What the fuck?
my
Is this
friends
like
are,
the Great
yeah,
Depression? What was
yeah,
this?
Yeah, almost in the early '80s, late '70s, early '80s.
We
But
used
a lot
to be
of
a
my
proper
buddies
country, Mick.
Yeah, a lot of my buddies though, they were working those minimum wage, fast food restaurant or whatever, mowing yards. I mean, think about that. That's $400 or $500 a week, and you're like in 8th grade or 9th grade.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
that's insane.
That's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
insane
fantastic.
money. So and you stay in shape. It's a great way to stay in shape.
Right.
Great way to learn how to do business and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, customer service and that type of thing.
Well, how do you go
Nice.
from landscaping to being a titan of the entertainment industry?
I haven't hit Titan spot yet. I'm still looking for that. But no, I actually my first touch of the entertainment business was I'm from a little town called Mount Carmel, Illinois. It's in southern Illinois. It's a beautiful little farm
Is there
town.
a famous fighter from Mount Carmel?
That I know of.
Not aware of
Christian?
that.
Oh, all right. Anyway,
We had a lot of wild fights up at the water tower after school, but
that
I don't
right?
think I don't think those count. Yeah, that was always the fight. Do you have that after school? Like you said, we're going to meet at such and such. There's always a place
yeah.
you met. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ours was under the water tower.
Under
Y'all
the
had like
water
Fight
tower.
Club, or this is like if you had beef with someone.
You had a
would go
beef
and
with
settle
somebody.
it.
You look at somebody's
You would
girlfriend, and
have
they
the
look
water-
at whatever it
the
is,
water
and
tower.
I'm going to whip your ass. I'm going to whip your ass. It was like, okay,
Shit.
under the water tower at the skating rink Friday night. You
Wow.
name it.
Really?
You
Yeah.
pick the spot. I'll be there.
Did you shoot the fair one, or
Go
did people
throw
end
some
up
bones.
jumping in?
Do what?
Did you shoot the fair one,
That
or
means,
did
like,
people
have
end
a
up
fair fight.
or did people end up jumping in?
No, so what's interesting is the only fight that I ever really got in, there was this guy, and he was a couple of years older than me, and I'm not sure what he was irritated at me about, but I knew he was going to beat the living shit out of me at the skating rink. So I broke into my mom and dad's bar, and I got a bottle of whiskey. I knew this guy liked to drink, and I got it. I was like 14, and he was like 16, or maybe I was 13, and he was 15, but I knew he was a big drinker. So I went in, and I didn't know that much about booze back then. Went in the bar, looked under grabbed something, took it up to him, and his name was Lonnie. I said, hey, listen, I got some whiskey here. He goes, what? I said, I got some whiskey here. Would you rather drink or fight? He said, fuck that fighting. So we went out behind the skating rink, started drinking. Some friends came out. That was probably the first time I did a serious drink.
Discretion is the better form of valor. Look at you.
Yeah,
No.
that's a savvy
How about
move
that?
right there.
Yeah.
That's a savvy move.
No, I was scared to death.
Talk
Are you
your way
shitting me?
out of it.
I
Yeah.
would have gone back and raided the rest of the bar to keep from getting hit. That guy was a big guy.
I'm gonna kill this guy with alcohol poisoning. Little did he know.
And then he turned out to be a really good one. He was a great guy anyway, but turned out to be a really
Got a
good friend.
diplomat over here.
How about
I
that,
like
man?
it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So listen, between the three of us, we had to be able to get the Middle East whipped into shape. A little bit of Jack Daniels and some smooth talking.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think.
Silver
I think
tongued devils.
the problem with the Middle East is a bit of repression. You know,
You reckon?
You just gotta unrepress a little bit, man. You know, the bikinis, a little more zooming in the Middle East, a little more zooming.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You've got all these pro-Palestinian protesters and all that, who none of them know what the fuck. They have no idea what they're talking about.
Most of them are
Zero
blue-haired bisexuals who would get butt-fucked to death if they were ever in Palestine for like a day. But,
Well, no, in Palestine, they wouldn't have the opportunity to get butt-fucked to death because that's illegal, and they would stone them to death before they would butt-fuck them to death. So what's interesting about it is you've got a lot of these folks that are out there that are just, they're literally absolute opposites of what the Muslim, of what Islam stands for.
Yeah.
Yet they're out there, fighting for them. And you're going,
I don't know what that's about. Is it just trendy? I don't think they're educated.
Dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would posit. It's just good old-fashioned. They just hate white people, buddy. Honest to God, you boil it down to two things. It's communism and it's anti-white.
Are the white people?
They consider the Jews white oppressors, colonizers, the Zionists.
What about the Ashkenazi or the Sephardic? No, Ashkenazi are the white ones. Sephardic are the ones who look like Middle Eastern but are Jewish.
If you're looking for nuanced arguments, you've come to the wrong place with the American activist class, buddy. They're kittens. They're kittens that
I don't consider Jews white. Yeah, right.
And here we are in Boca.
Yeah. What about you, Kent? Are you anti-Semitic?
I'm a Jewish man.
What about you, Kent? Are you anti-Semitic?
I love everyone. And I really do. And that's one thing that, I think you and I may have talked about this before, but it's interesting. You've got like just horrible, shitty leaders all over the world. All over the world who pit everyone against each other. And at the end of the day, you know what? Just the regular folks like us love each other. We don't care if what your religion, background, whatever. Yeah. If you took a lot of the, the religious leaders out of it, and you took a lot of the political leaders out of it, we're all humans. At the end of the day, if you see somebody in trouble, you don't, you're going to go help them.
Yeah, it's not white versus black, Jew versus Muslim. It's honest to God, people who just want to be left alone versus people who refuse to leave us alone. That's all it really comes down to. Yeah. It's the working class versus the managerial class. These people think, whether they went to an Ivy League school or they come from a family of standing or they just have good old-fashioned God complexes, whatever it is, they think they need to save us from us.
Yeah.
And they will have world peace, no matter how many millions of people they have to kill to get it. Like these people are – we're dealing with some really legitimately crazy people, man, unfortunately.
But you know what, though? It's interesting because let's go back to the leader side of this thing, not just the crazy followers, but the leaders. Follow the money.
Yeah.
I mean, this really, people think this is a right or left thing, a Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, and it's really not at all. It's really the establishment class, because I don't think there's a lot of difference between Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi.
No difference.
One's got a D by their name, the other's got an R.
I'll tell you what, to your point, look at John Fetterman, had a stroke and came back brilliant, and look at Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
John Fetterman's a Democrat, and he makes way better points than Liz Cheney.
Well, and that's why, again, whether you like Trump, don't like Trump, whatever, I can take the personality out of anything. Listen, you give me the big. Of course, I'm more Republican, but you give me the biggest obnoxious dickhead Democrat, and he's got good policy. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad with Trump. He just had fantastic policy. Whether you like, I have the advantage of knowing him and his personality and stuff, and he's a good guy.
You like Donald Trump as a person?
Very much.
Yep.
I love that he's bucking the system. He's not these typical career politicians, and I think he's also loves himself enough where he's going to want to be great and do the best for the country.
Well, he wants to leave a great legacy, but what's interesting is the reason he's getting so much resistance is he's not part of that follow the money team.
Oh, it's the opposite. He took the money away from him.
Yeah, he's not looking to make a fortune off of, pharmaceutical companies, not looking to make a fortune off of defense contractors.
Yes.
He's not about that. He's about – I remember the Soleimani thing, when they needed to take Soleimani out, who was,
Shane
enemy
Gillis
number
does an
one.
incredible bet on that.
Oh, yeah, it's enemy
died
number
like
one.
A duck.
Well,
he
died like a duck.
Well, what's interesting about the whole
really
scenario
is
he really did.
All the generals come in, these hack generals come in, and they're telling them, we're going to have to send all these troops in, and we're going to have to send 4 ships, and all these planes. And it was billions of dollars they were going to spend to take out this guy. And he goes, Trump just literally, I'm sure I'm paraphrasing, but literally says, can't we just fucking kill the guy? I was like, no, sir, we can't do that. Yeah, we can, can't we? And so he
No,
finally
we need 20 years and $3 trillion of
Just
infrastructure.
no, and that's really that's
no,
that where
100%.
that's where it was going. So he finally gets in a couple of trusted generals.
It's called the new American century, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not a bug. That's a feature.
Yeah.
Kill him in the head with a gun.
That's Bill Kristol foreign policy.
Well,
One of the most evil human beings ever.
he brings in 2 generals who he could trust, and they said, "Yeah, we can absolutely do that." And 3 days later, guess what they did?
Yeah.
They killed the fucking guy, and guess how many people we lost?
Yeah.
0.
Well, why?
And guess how much money we spent? About 3 bombs.
Yeah.
Three targeted bombs at a car.
Which is still
That was
probably
about
like
it.
$1.5 million. But
Yeah, but-
whatever.
But all things
But
considered.
$1.5 million compared to
potatoes.
what would have been, just by accident, us
Yeah.
losing 20 or
Small
30
potatoes,
guys
very
and,
good
and
Trump
billions of dollars,
documentary on the USFL. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but that was brilliant.
Really?
Yeah.
What was
He dropped a punt.
Say
nice
funny
thing.
things sometimes.
Yeah. But to this point, I believe that we underwent a color revolution. I believe there was a coup. I believe that the last election was 100% rigged.
Well,
and they admit it.
So you're
as
one of those
much.
guys.
Yeah, they call it.
No.
That's the shirt right
Like
there, ain't it?
Yeah.
Ain't that the shirt?
It might be. I
Well-
mean, this is what every election looks like. This is how elections go. But the what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So the moment I believe that Trump was untenable for them, he was distasteful for them in the beginning, but the moment he became untenable is when he said NATO's got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And we're getting out of the WHO. We're getting out of the Paris Accord. And he took all of the billions of dollars in Greece money
Right.
out. And
Right.
he said, we're not here to finance UN bribery, essentially.
Right. And that's really what it was.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, nobody had ever called him out on it, ever. No one had ever called him out on this stuff until he came along. Again, he's not in it for the money. He's in it for cleaning up the country. So
And when are we going to hold
another-
the UN accountable?
Hmm?
Because it's now become more than apparent that they are who are behind the influx of foreign nationals across the southern border.
Right.
Like, how are Somalis who make $16 a year affording to fly to Mexico to then get through the
Right.
southern border?
Oh, the whole thing is
So-
just loaded up.
It's
They're
the UN,
loading the
apparently.
thing
The
up, yeah.
UN is doing this. To what end?
Here's the end.
And what
So,
should we do to the UN if, in fact, they are doing this?
Well, let's think about this for a minute. Let's look at the global picture here.
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of the day, the leader for years. I mean, here this upstart company in the country in the 1700s starts up. We start to flourish through the 1800s, the 1900s, the industrial. We become this superpower.
Yeah.
You've got globalists that have got that in order to truly become a global economy or a globalist type of operation, they got to take us down. I mean, you think about all the powers and so what they're doing, I believe, and I've talked with a lot of people, a lot of Trump's former cabinet members too, we talk about this, very interesting that you've got every way they can destabilize the country.
Yeah.
And this has been going on for years. The educational system, fucking the kids up, and they are.
Yeah.
And this phone has been the worst thing that happened for the kids, forever. But in the educational system, with social media, that kind of thing, with weakening our labor pool by strengthening China, putting tons of money in here, strengthening the unions getting bold, they drive the wages up too high, they just lay the people off, the jobs go to China. You've got all these forces that are trying to destabilize society. So that's really what it is. I mean, that's really what it is. And so you've got NATO working against us. You've got the WHO working against us, not the band. You've got the UN. I mean, you've got all these people really working against us.
Yeah, because they are government people, and the more successful America is, the less people realize the less important government is in people's eyes. You can't have. This is why the attack we've talked about on our show a bunch of times. The attack, the character assassination on our founding fathers, is specifically because these are people that said, "No, fuck the government."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
They stood up.
Come and get it.
Do you guys see that Ohio is making it that you need parental consent if you're under 16 years old to have social media?
What do you think about
Oklahoma.
I
think
saw
it's
it in Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What
I
do you
read
wow.
something in Ohio, maybe both.
What do you
Wow.
think about that, Mick?
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good for the kids. I don't want my little sisters getting on it. I I think overall it's bad. I think it's a net negative. I don't think there's much good in it.
Well, you know, it screwed kids up. Oh,
What's
you know
good
what? You know
about
what it was? I think in Oklahoma, I was thinking of that came out yesterday, day before, where they're going to allow the school districts to be able to have the power to say no cell phones at school.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what it was. The Ohio one, I got to look.
I don't know if that's great though.
I do. I do. There's nothing that can't wait till you get back to your locker at lunchtime on this phone.
Right.
You know, if there's an emergency, your parents are going to call.
If they're saying not in school, it's not in your locker or your backpack.
You're
saying not in school?
No, not in the
classroom.
Yeah, I thought that's the way it was. They're allowed to have it in the classroom?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
A
unbelievable.
lot of them. They weren't allowed, but then it just became ungovernable. Yeah, they're just like everybody was on it, so it was like, all right, I'm not gonna pay enough for this shit. Go ahead, you know.
Yeah, by the way,
it should be like that.
Sending notes.
I thought you were
saying sending notes.
I thought
in
you were
school?
saying
They
not
just send
allowed.
texts.
Like, you can't bring it onto the school property, and that would make me worry.
I think
if there's an emergency,
I think it's in the classroom. But whatever the case, you know, if there's an emergency, I mean, the parents are going to call the school office. The school office is going to go get the kid. Not that big of a deal. But these have become such a distraction. Yeah. The teachers can't get rid of them. The teachers can't discipline their kids. You take a look at it. We in 1972, we were number 1 in math, and we were number 2 in science globally, worldwide. Now, you know where we are today?
Not number 2?
31 and 34.
Yikes.
Right behind Latvia somewhere. Which I always thought was a drink at Starbucks. I had no idea it was a country. But what's so interesting?
Kristaps Porzingis is Latvian.
By the way, guess what happened? Guess
he
what?
Doesn't even do science.
Guess when the numbers started to go down?
When?
Yeah.
Social media.
Nope. When they went way down.
Cell phones.
That too.
I would say
big spike.
I'm gonna get
to
it
me,
first.
it's Bush's No Child Left Behind would probably be
also a big spike, but not it. So the Department of Education, the Department of Education was put into effect under Jimmy Carter, became a cabinet level position under Jimmy Carter, under pressure of the teachers unions. We were number 1 and number 2 in math and science when that happened. When the federal government got involved, we literally rapidly went up into the 30s.
Well, because we went from a system of rewarding achievement to making sure that everything was for the lowest common denominator. Now, with No Child Left Behind, the only way for these schools to get funding is for them to test at a certain level on these national tests. Remember that? Like, you'd have to take that test every, marking period.
Yeah, we call them, I think they're called, the Iowas.
Something like
Iowa
that.
Basics.
Yeah.
But those were happening long before Bush. Those were going on in the dark ages when I was in school. I'm 58.
Yeah, but people could get left back when you were in school.
They could. However, the inside joke inside the Bush administration was they called it make every kid a dumbass. And that was actually a joke that went around because the whole idea was you're going to have to dumb down everybody else to bring him back here. And that was really what happened.
That's what happened. Why did they go through it if that was the joke?
You know what? Again, follow the money. You got teachers unions. You've got all this special interest money, even in education. You've got tons of special interest money.
You think Trump's going to fix all this shit or what?
I think he can if he can.
Yeah?
I'll tell you what. I think he had a really good shot at it, during the 2017, 2018, or 2017, 2019 congressional era, during when he took
What
office.
stopped him?
He took office on you had idiots like Paul Ryan.
People like sabotaging his
You had Paul Ryan,
shit.
you had Kevin McCarthy, you had these guys running Congress.
Establishment.
And again, they're establishment, and it's all about the money for those guys.
I mean, McCarthy's essentially a Democrat.
So what do you think if he wins in 2024?
Well, he's a money guy. He's a money dude.
What do you think if he wins in 2024? Do you see like a path to a solution to a lot of these issues we're talking about?
I think so. I mean, that's kind of the only path because we're not going to, if we wind up with an establishment hack in there, we're going to get
What
nothing.
if we had RFK?
I like
because those aren't establishment hacks.
Bobby is a very close friend of mine. I like him a lot, and I think he's good. I think he would be a great balance to Trump. I think like Pence was a good balance to Trump at one time. I think Bobby would be a good balance to him. He's got some issues.
Like a vice?
As a vice, I think he would be
fantastic.
Is that something that they're actually considering?
I don't think so. I've asked Bobby about it a time or two, and I was joking with Trump about it one time. And both of them were like, yeah, I don't think that, But you never know what those guys are really thinking about.
Can it happen, or legally is it not allowed to happen because of him registering to be president or something like that? Like after the primaries or something, they could join forces, something like that?
Yeah, after the primaries, they could join forces
they would kick
anytime.
Fucking ass.
I think they'd kick great ass.
Yeah.
I do too. I do too. And Bobby, you know, whether you like him or not, it's hard not to like him because he's a fabulous
Only thing
guy.
against him is the voice.
No, you know, people got paid. So, you know, I did that first interview with him right out of the, you know, calling out the Fauci stuff with that book. Nobody would put him on, and we did that interview that just went freaking everywhere fast. And
how many that had what 3 million views in a week or something? Yeah.
No, it was like 30s. It was
30 million views?
insane.
Holy shit.
I mean, and of course, Mark misinformation.
Oh yeah,
blah blah taken down immediately.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Who? No, it was Mark.
It was Mark.
Oh,
probably Mark.
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably him.
But what's interesting about it is, you know, again, follow that money because you had everybody pounding on Bobby at that time. You know, conspiracy theorists, wacko, crazy, this and that.
Yeah.
What was interesting was everything in that book, because I read the book front and back before I agreed to it, because nobody would do the interview.
Yeah. Our buddy Rocco swears by that book, yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting about it is every single thing in the book, the actual book, you go back to the back, it's about 25% citations. Every fact, everything stated is cited back to a federal government website. Everything.
Listen.
So these people are going, that's nonsense, it's conspiracy theory. Well, it's like, it's your own shit.
The guy,
it's literally,
I don't
it's
understand.
off the CDC website. It's still conspiracy.
What are people thinking? This guy's a fucking Kennedy. You think the guy woke up one day, he's got a Hollywood wife, he lives in these heavy left circles, he's a freaking Kennedy, and he wants to wake up one day and, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make up some shit that's going to ostracize everybody that I know and love. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm bored. So I'm going to make up some wild shit just to, like, get attention, and then all my friends are going to hate me. No.
Yeah, and by the way...
You know that, like, how much internal fucking, strife this must have caused him to finally be like, I have to say this. You're wrong. And then this is why. You know what I mean?
If
like
Bobby Kennedy says it, it is true, or he believes it to be true.
I'll say this about Bobby Kennedy, and I'll say this about Trump.
I get that
this
feeling
is
as
the two
well.
of them.
Yeah. I'm a good sense of people. I could sniff it out. Yeah. I could feel that he's genuine.
I'll tell you something interesting about Bobby. You want to hear something
both
crazy?
Give a shit about America.
They do.
That is something that I don't think our current administration, I feel like, has an active disdain for America. I felt the same way about the Obama administration. I feel like they were like apologizing on our behalf or something like that. And it was like I'm so sorry for America, guys. It's like, fuck you.
You know what?
We got nothing to apologize for.
So
that nobody else would have to apologize for.
It's interesting when you hear people talk about, people talk about, oh, that person hates America, or they don't. You know what it is? It's, again, follow the money. You know, Obama goes out anytime when he went on his apology tour. What did he do? He weakened us. He helped destabilize our society.
Yeah. Well,
so,
and actually again, physically too, with Arab Spring and everything also.
Well, and again, it's a money thing. It's, those guys are making a fortune, getting paid in one way, shape, or the other, knowingly or unknowingly, to destabilize our country. That's really what's happening. Think about this green stuff. None of that shit makes any deal.
No.
But that's really what's going on. So, again, when they're out there doing this kind of stuff, think about, is what they're doing propping up our country or destabilizing it? When Trump comes out and plays games with, what's the Rocket Boy's name over there in North Korea?
North Korea, yeah. Kim Jong-un?
Kim Ding Dong. What's it? Kim Young Jong, whatever it is.
I'm offended.
Kim Jong-il.
How dare you?
So, Long Duck Dong. So, he, but,
Did you order that the other day?
I did. It was
Long
delicious.
Duck Dong? Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I love my Long Duck Dong in my neck, my mouth. I'm trying to say mouth, but anyway.
But
you were saying something about Bobby Kennedy.
Korean?
Yeah.
No, but when Trump goes and plays games with that guy, or he plays games with Putin, I mean, he's strengthening America. I mean, he's actually you know how many wars we got started during Trump? Zero. First president I think we've ever had.
Only president whose net worth
history
went down being a president. Everybody else made deals to follow the money.
He also tweeted some dumb shit he didn't have to tweet. He's
inflammatory, sure.
Yeah.
How many times? I mean, I can't count.
But I'd rather a dick be doing good things.
But yeah, how many times have you said some stupid shit you wish you could? I do it every day. I probably will do it today within this hour.
I literally make a living out of it.
But but Trump, again, Trump's verbose. He's got a big ego and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you look at the results. If these people who have got, what do they call it, Trump derangements, if these people would just take the policy, out. There's a lot of Democrats with really good policy. I don't give a shit that there's a D by the name. If they're good policy, I'm going to stand by
Name
them.
one.
Let's see. Bobby Kennedy.
Bobby Kennedy.
There you go.
Name one more.
Let's see. Tulsi Gabbard.
I spent a lot of time with this guy.
Tulsi Gabbard got kicked out of the Democratic Party, though.
She did. However,
she had too many good ideas.
I think you probably got some other ones over there, though, that are pretty decent people. And, you take a look at when I was a kid.
Joe Manchin probably held the country together. You got to give a lot of credit. This country might have ripped in half.
Manchin did. I think he did a good job.
That's a good example.
Again, he's a money kind of guy, but again, I think he.
What do you mean a money kind of guy?
Yeah, I think he's taking the money like those other guys. Okay. But interesting about Manchin is he did have balls big enough to buck, these idiots like Chuck Schumer. And again, these are all just money-driven idiots, and they're dumbasses. Have you ever had a conversation with Chuck Schumer?
No,
yeah,
I don't think
that guy's about as deep. This guy is literally has that much depth.
Really?
The guy's a fucking moron.
All right.
But he's wired into the mafia up there in New York. He's wired in. And he's going to be there forever.
The actual mafia or the government mafia?
No, I mean the actual. Well, I think they're kind of one and the same in a lot of those areas.
Is that right?
Don't you think so? Think about New York.
Still to this day?
I'm sure that Trump was wired well into those guys,
he
too.
Talks about it, yeah.
Giuliani was the greatest at dealing with the mob.
Yeah.
Think about how he cleaned New York up. He was a former, federal prosecutor. He knew where literally all the bodies were buried.
Yeah, some of the good guys, some of the good fellows that we know, not big fans of old Rudy Giuliani.
May or may not be, but what I'm saying is, I'll tell you, back in New York,
yep.
I mean, I recall going up there working when I was younger in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
No, but I recall going up there when it was bad.
Oh.
And, Ed Koch, who I really liked personally, great guy. But, I mean, the city was a fucking
him and Dinkins
disaster.
were the worst.
You would walk – oh, yeah.
Well, then these guys – the last two that we have might be worse than Dinkins and Koch.
But you would walk out of a restaurant, 11 o'clock, midnight or whatever, and garbage just piled up, and the next morning it's still there. Literally within 2 or 3 months of Giuliani taking over, I was just shocked at this. You would walk out of a restaurant, you never saw garbage.
Clean the city.
Yeah, and if there was some done, by the time I got up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning to go for a run, streets clean as all get out.
He really did.
No issues,
he cleaned the city.
No nothing. Didn't have to worry about getting mugged or stepping on shit. Like now, I mean, think about it. New York, I mean, I'll show you some pictures from just a few weeks ago. I mean, there's tent cities up in some of these in Midtown. Yeah. Not in shitty areas.
No.
Right in Midtown.
Hypodermic needles right there on 33rd outside of the Garden.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a horror. It's a shame what they've done. They got gangs of migrants beating the shit out of cops.
Gerard, you should make I just saw that too. You should make a series of your Welcome to New York. He plays that music as he films shitty things happening in the city whenever he's there. If you made like a series of that,
concrete jungle,
it's where it's like shit on the road.
A guy just shitting right there on fucking 7th Avenue.
Dude,
a rat the size of a dog.
On Sunset.
Yeah.
What?
A rat the size of a dog.
You should have seen the size of this fucking rat.
Like just all type of hypodermic needles, you name it. Yeah. It's a good series.
I had a rat just walk right over the tips of my shoes
a couple
of months ago. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the shit all over the streets up there and stuff. So where my place is in Los Angeles? It's in Hollywood, just south of Sunset, a little condo down there. And I like to walk up to Sunset, cut a right, and then go to the In-N-Out Burger. Now there's probably 8
Nick's
or 10.
not a fan of the In-N-Out. You know
I'm a fan.
I think it's overrated.
So you go to Sunset.
Overrated.
You go to Sunset. You used to cut it. It used to be a beautiful area. Now of course tents everywhere, shit all over the streets. But I walk up there. It's about noon. I just landed, got in, ready to have a cheeseburger. So I walk up there. As I get totally.
Yeah.
I get up there, loaded fries, and I get up there and. I see this guy walking across the street, and you could tell his pants were down. And I'm like, and the guy's walking right across Sunset.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and the sun was hitting just right that I'm looking going, has that guy got like an outfit on? Because he's got like a tail. And he's facing the other way, walking across the street. The guy is in the middle of mid-shit, but it's hanging there. He must have had a fiber issue of some sort.
That's not the
tapeworm?
Literally. But I mean, this is in the middle of Los Angeles where this is going on, and another guy's running, and he stops, same thing, and the guy's just standing there and is just swinging. And this guy we got talking about it. He had lived there for 30 years, and he literally almost tears in his eyes. What beautiful city, great city, prosperous city. What it's come to because of these left-leaning. I think attempts to destabilize the country starts in those cities.
Kent, you've been in the entertainment industry for a long time. Your daughter was on Modern Family. You know, you've seen this from the inside. Why do you think our entertainment, television, film, music specifically, push this far left ideology? Why do you think it attracts these types of people who've created these situations?
Well, you know, it's interesting
Follow the
because
money.
Yeah,
You think so?
you know, my book from 2019 was called "The Common Sense 80%," and the thesis of the book was over 80% of the people agree on over 90% of the same stuff, which we all do.
Mhm.
You sit down with anybody, I don't care how far left they are, you're going to agree on way more than you disagree on. But for some reason, in that business, there is a culture that feels like they have to. It's a following culture. In other words, it's a culture of people who are very weak, very insecure, very Again, you think about being an actor. I mean, I've dated them. I mean, it's fucking disasters. I mean, they go to auditions, 2 or 3 auditions a
Constantly
day.
looking for external validation.
Well, they get the shit beat out of them all day long.
Yeah.
And and then they go back to coffee bean and work, and constantly. So they become these, victimhood follower mentality type folks. So what's interesting about that is, you take that victimhood mentality. Those people are very easy to control. So from an industry standpoint, I think those folks look at, these people, not the actors, but I mean, this group of people are downtrodden and discriminated against or whatever, and so they all just line up, going, okay, that's Gerard, the president of the studio, thinks that, so I'm gonna get on it, I'm gonna extra tweet it out, and I think it's really that. I think it's just this
pandering?
cancer. It's a pandering thing, and they just pander, and I think the pander circle has gotten so intense, it's hard for them to get out. But what you're seeing, a lot of my friends, some that you see tweet just nasty shit about Trump, will come up and say, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is going on with Gavin Newsom? What the fuck is, what are they doing? What is Nancy Pelosi? What are they, so you've got a lot of these people who are very moderate. I consider myself a moderate. I'm not a far right winger. A lot of these people, very common sense moderates who were in that acting thing, and you can't really say they were red pilled, but they kind of go, you know what? I used to live in this great neighborhood. Look what's happened. It's the policy. They finally get it. But the pander circle is so tight, everyone's afraid to say, God, if Gerard, who's the head of the studio, if he says it and I don't retweet it, or I don't, I'm not going to get seen, or I'm not going to, he's going to think I'm not one of them. And I really think that's what it is. I mean, far left actors and directors and producers who are friends of mine are not far left.
Really?
Many are not.
Name names.
I can't. I'm not going to do that.
They can name one name.
Not going to do that.
Not going to do that?
Not going to do that.
Well, I mean, there's some people that we know that are very similar. There's some people that we know that have an outward persona where they have to be seen as being further left than they actually are. And then we have the conversations, and I just sit there and I go, man, like, what shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul in the process? Like, man, what is the point of being rich and famous if you can't even be yourself?
Yeah.
What's the point of it? If you have to worry about what somebody thinks about what you actually believe,
right?
What's the point?
Well, think about this. Think about how easy it is to control people if you can convince them they're a victim of something.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can convince somebody they're a victim of something, very simple to control. A lot of this stuff comes out of Rules for Radicals. The what's his name?
Saul Alinsky.
Saul Alinsky. So a lot of this stuff comes out of there. And so you get these victimhood mentality people who do get in that circle of pandering, and I think it can spin out of control pretty quickly.
So then why do you think the right is so bad at messaging, or moderates are so bad at messaging? Where is moderate Hollywood? Where's right wing Hollywood? Where is the counterculture? There's a ton of opportunity out there.
If you take a look at, let's go back for a second. If you take a look at right wing, left wing, and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's a football field, for instance. You may have the 5 yards to the end zone of Looney Tune far right wingers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Looney Tunes. And you may have, on the left,
mm-hmm.
Take that ends from 5 yards in or 10 yards into the end zone.
Yeah.
You've got that. In the middle, you got the rest of us.
Yep.
I mean, you really do.
Yeah.
I will guarantee you that if somebody walks in here and they're registered Democrat, I guarantee you that there is not a hell of a lot we disagree on. But you've got these far-right factions that are so loud, and they've convinced you that unless you will kill an abortion doctor, field dress it, barbecue it, and serve it to your neighbors, you are a lib, you know. And unless you will, you know, turn into a woman, I'm not suggesting that. You are a, you know, you're a bigot and you're a whatever.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to just don't pay attention to these fucking idiots on the far fringes.
No, I got to disagree with you there, man, because, again, take a show like Modern Family, right? Great show, awesome cast. Every one of the storylines was some sort of left-leaning narrative.
Not really.
A lot of them really were.
Not so much.
You don't think so?
Nah, not really.
Example.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, take a look at. Well, I don't want to. I don't have.
And by the way, I'm not
examples.
defending the show.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that, you know, the producers and the writers, and you know, it was written with integrity. It was. I don't think there was that much left leaning. It may have. You had Jay, who was would have been the conservative, the older guy.
Yep.
That Ed played.
O'Neill.
Yeah. And I don't think it was left leaning, and I think that there was a lot of consideration given to that too, because if you take a look at their audience was overwhelmingly conservative. I mean, you know, when a show hits, it was Johnny Carson who said, if it'll play in Omaha, it'll play anywhere.
It's true.
And you know, that show played in Omaha, so I don't think it was necessarily left. I think it was very even, and I think most of the shows you see on are relatively even until you get into that weird Disney shit.
I tend to agree with you on Modern Family. I watched a little bit of that show, and I thought it was supposed to represent a little bit of everything. I mean, maybe a little left leaning, but you know, I think for the most part,
women are always right. The men are always apologizing.
Yeah, like Phil's an idiot.
You know, Phil's an idiot.
Well, I mean, I think that goes back to God.
Jay's got to learn. The gays never got to learn. Jay's got to learn. It's just, you know.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that goes back to, you know, I mean, hell, you could go back to Norman Lear, some of his shows, you know, All in the Family, things like that. Same storyline, just different, you know, same storyline, same character, just different names.
Right? I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah.
There's only 7 stories.
So I don't know that it was necessarily, I don't think it was left leaning.
There's only 7 stories? What's that mean?
Well, there's only 7 stories. That's the idea. That there's only, pull them up, Christian. Pull up what the seven stories are. And the idea is that everything else is just window dressing, right? There's the unrequited love. Yeah, there's the overcoming the monster. There's I forget what they are.
Well, let's think about this for a minute.
Yeah.
So think about what's playing in Omaha and what's not. And this is where Hollywood gets really fucked up. You know, I really think it does. You know, you have writers that are mostly left-wing, that are writers, whether in L.A. or New York. They're typically in one of the two cities. It's not a lot of that goes on in the middle of the country. They're playing to themselves, which is why 97% of pilots fail. Yeah. Because they're playing to themselves.
Yeah, I'd actually amplify that. I think it's even...
Well, let's amplify it even more by looking at Disney. Look at Disney. Yeah. The more they've tried to push this... What was that?
They've lost half their market cap in 5 years.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, again, I mean, they got shit in the can that's going to be 3 years out. I mean, they got stuff going that's already done. Yeah. They're still editing. Yeah, it's going to get worse for those guys. But, again, Middle America, I say we because I'm from Illinois originally. We, as Middle Americans, we're the tail that wags the dog. You know, it's not the other way around.
You're not flyover country?
Huh?
You're not flyover country?
I'm total flyover country. Yeah. But there's a lot of shit going on underneath that. 30,000 feet below the airplane, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of good people. And those are the good people who have the wallets.
Well, this is where I agree with you. And it dawned on me.
By the way, a lot of good people in California, too. Ton of good people. It's just they're outshadowed by, crazy politics.
Yeah, and they're all in Canada. Austin now. There was a lot of good people in California, just like there was a lot.
Most
of
are coming to Nashville.
Jersey.
I've had a home in California and Tennessee. Split my time for 30 years. A lot of great ones are just saying, you know what, we're voting with our feet. We're getting the hell out.
Yeah, that's what we did. But we both grew up in Jersey.
Yeah, so
Yeah. But I think it dawned on me the last time I was working on a show and I was in a room and listening to these people talk about Middle America. And it dawned on me, these people are from Middle America, a lot of these writers. They're born here, they grew up there, and then they move. They don't fit in to, Guns, God, and Glory and all that other shit. They don't fit into traditional Americana. They despise it. They move to the coast, like you're talking about. They get into an echo chamber surrounded by other people who despise the center of America where they left. The same way I despise the liberal entertainment industry that I left, they despise the middle country that they left, and that's why you're always the target of their.
Well, do you know what causes? I believe this anyway. What causes people to despise or to be just totally like I can't get into that. Do you know what it is? I think it's just shit being shoved down their throat.
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
Like I had a friend of mine. She got pregnant. She was liberal. She's going to get an abortion, and she came to talk to me because I'm a pro-life, but I'm not going to force it on somebody else. And so I've got my own testimony on that, and it's pretty powerful. But I sat with her very non-judgmentally, and I said, you know what? When we talked for a long time, and I said, I know you'll do what's right for you, And I think she was really looking for me to push back and take this moral, high ground and all that. And it really, I didn't push that on her. And again, by the way, it was not my baby.
Yes, I was thinking. I was wondering.
No, I've been there before, but that was not my baby. And it was interesting that, she didn't end up having the baby. And she said, the reason I had it, she goes, because you didn't push a bunch of shit on me. You just said, I know you'll make the right decision.
Does she regret having a kid or?
No.
Oh, she had the baby. She didn't have the abortion.
Had the baby.
Okay.
Ended up marrying a guy, fantastic dude. So what's interesting about that is, think about the vaccine. We were talking about that earlier. Talk about a bunch of stupid fuck marketers. Had they wanted everyone to take that vaccine, they would have said, you know what, we got it. It's available for you. If you want it, you got it. If you don't want it, no big deal.
You want to be eating a burger?
Lined up.
You want to be Bill de Blasio? Think of the vaccine. Eat this yummy burger and fries. Yeah,
people are looking at that going, there's something wrong with that deal.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
What
Go ahead.
are we
doing? Come on, Gerard. Just try it.
What?
Give it a bite.
Yeah.
Come on, Gerard.
Yeah. You don't even have to market ice cream. You're just like, you know what? I think I want me some of that ice cream.
I think political policy is the same way.
Yeah.
When we, as conservatives or moderate conservatives or moderate Republicans, whatever you want to call us, when we force, again, abortion is not my thing.
Yeah.
But when we go force it on somebody else, it repels them, and they run like hell. They just run. And
my understanding with the potatoes in Russia, right? What's that old story with the potatoes in Russia? So potato apparently is not.
They made it seem like the rich.
Yes.
Liked it.
Exactly. So the potato apparently is not
just for the rich,
not indigenous to Russia, but they realize this is going to feed so many people. It's so cheap, we can make it. And
right.
We got to introduce this. So when they told everybody, hey, we got this great thing, and the people would get the potato out of the ground and be like, what, this fucking looks like shit. And then they'd eat it raw, and they're like, fuck potatoes, I don't want it. And they rejected it. They rejected the government's initial push for potatoes. And
really?
Somebody in the guy, I forget who it is. I used to know the story, but I haven't taken my alpha brain today. He had a great idea. He goes, only give potatoes to the aristocracy and tell the people they're not allowed to have potatoes and they're not allowed to grow potatoes.
Interesting.
And have the guards
reverse psychology.
When the people sneak onto the farms to steal the potatoes, let them. And that's what they did. So all the peasants would be like, "What do you mean we can't have fucking potatoes? Fuck you!"
Yeah.
And they would sneak onto the aristocratic farms and they would steal these potatoes, and then they'd figure out cook them, boil them, mash them, and then obviously now you think of Russia, you think of vodka, you think of potatoes, right? So apparently that is how the potato was introduced to Russia, and it was somebody in the king's
where'd they
court.
start making the vodka with it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody found it, and they were like, we're on to something here. We're on to something here. These old potatoes sure are tasty. Yeah. I don't know, man. So what do you think is next for you, man? Are you planning on running?
No, it was interesting. So, I got approached by a lot of folks in California, split my time, and about that Senate seat, the Dianne Feinstein Senate seat. And it was interesting. I hit 32, 33 counties, never announced anything, never said anything, never did social media. Because there, one, it's almost an impossible seat to win. I mean, it's really hard. And you can't come off as a far-right winger out there. You got to be moderate. And you because that's their politics there. I mean, that's what it is. And, I did a lot of surveys. I looked at a lot of polls, a lot of my own stuff, but then I looked at a lot of really interesting polls on the social issues. Huh? Do what?
Looking at polls.
You look at interesting polls.
No, I was not writing those polls. I was just a couple of opportunities in West Hollywood for that. But
how bad do you want this Senate seat? Bad.
But I took a look at it, and one thing I found is that as much as like abortion and gay marriage and those are issues that, again, if they would just be left alone, people would just they would do what's right for them. You know? But anyway, I looked at this, and even amongst the evangelical Christian community across the country, this is how bad a shape our country's in. Abortion doesn't even hit the top 5% of their concerns.
Oh, that's nowhere. It's nowhere near my. I don't even think it would be my top 10.
Yet that is what that issue alone loses us the election. And so my message, I burn a lot of jet fuel up, and I went to a lot of counties, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Again, never announced anything, but had some of the bigger donors who said, come and talk to this group, talk to that group and stuff. And you've got a couple of things. One, you've got the Republican Party out there. There are 3 factions, 2 main factions, but there's really 3, and they hate each other, and they scream and yell and tweet nasty things about each other and put up websites nasty. They'll never get their shit together. One thing as a Republican, we have a blessing and a curse. One is we're business guys. We're either business guys, we're entrepreneurs, we're doers. We do things, which means we logically think. So Gerard tells me something, and I go, that doesn't seem right. So I go do my own thing. And then you tell me something, you don't think it's right. So bottom line is we all start disagreeing with us because we're independent thinkers. Democrats don't have that issue.
No, they're on the same team.
Well, it's not the same team. Again, let's go back to most leftists.
Saying it's like sheep.
Yeah. Most leftists, not classic liberals, but most leftists they've been convinced they're a victim of something, hence they're easy to control. So where a Republican, you say, Gerard, I want you to run for Senate, and you'll have 30 different factions shooting at you instead of propping you up. A Democrat, very easy to control, they're lemmings. They line up. I say a Democrat. There's some good ones too. But the leftists, the leader of the gang, whether it's Obama or whoever the leader, says, you go that way, and they go, yes, sir.
Yeah.
They don't question. They don't think about it.
George
it's a different thing.
George Santos and Ilhan Omar, right? George Santos got kicked out of Congress by Republicans. He was a Republican. He got caught lying. He got kicked out of Congress.
Yeah.
Ilhan,
but again, that guy was. I mean, listen, I'm a registered Republican, and I was head of my Young Republican, county chair and in the state thing, and going way back. The first campaign I campaigned in was Richard Nixon when I was 7 years old in 1972, handing things out, back in my hometown. So I go way back as a Republican. But when you get someone like a George Santos in, that's bad. I don't care whether it's Santos on our side or an Ilhan Omar on their side, equally as bad.
I agree with you.
Neither one of those parties should tolerate it.
I agree with you, but to your point, the Republicans kicked out Santos. The Democrats are never going to kick out Omar.
No, not a bit.
She could. I mean, what else would it take for her to actually get censured? I mean, she said she will never put America first. She's here to. She's the Somali congressman.
Well, I don't understand why she gets a pass on marrying the brother. I mean, I don't. And again,
yeah, G was just telling me that. I think on the last episode.
Well, what's in, and it's confirmed. It's not like
I was like, that doesn't sound
bullshit.
right. I might need to do some
research.
But
what's interesting is it's immigration fraud. That is actual immigration fraud that you and I would be
so she
indicted
just married
for.
the brother. She's not fucking the brother.
We don't know.
She made it. Who knows? I don't know.
I think she's kind of cute. I'd take it down.
Cool, man.
Yeah. I mean,
whip that towel off. You never know what's under there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
You let us know,
excited.
Gerard. You let us know.
I would. You never seen her? I think
what's her name?
Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
Ilhan. ILHAN.
But what's interesting about someone like that is the fact that she did actually commit immigration fraud, and anybody else would be indicted. But they tend to just let them go. I don't know what that's all about.
Well, it's two-tier justice. I mean, the guy who just had the guys who filmed themselves having gay sex on the Senate floor and then posted it. The Department of Justice decided not to pursue charges. All right, fine. But there was a grandma who walked through the Capitol building with a selfie stick, who 60-something years old and had cancer, and you gave her 6 months of solitary confinement.
Well, that whole thing is if we start in on that January 6th stuff, it's going to get. I mean, we'll go till dark because
we had
that is
Scott
such
Fairlamb
a
on
farce
the show,
and the whole thing is just nonsense.
Yeah, they just admitted it. They wanted an Emmy. PBS, did you see this?
Mm-mm.
PBS came out and said that we knew that if if we didn't convince the American public about what a big deal this was, the American public wouldn't have believed it was a big deal. So they're talking about the fact that they actually did a produced psyop, and now they want an award for it. So
you know what's interesting is, the fact that they blame it on Trump. And again, I do love the guy's policies are great, and I'm not defending him, but I mean, I saw the speech. Matter of fact, I wanted to be there. I was traveling someplace else that day, or I would have been there. I don't know that I would have got in the building, but what's interesting about it is the fact that they call it an insurrection. And listen, I'm from Southern Illinois, and if there's going to be an insurrection and you're going to get a bunch of us rednecks together, there's going to be a fucking insurrected, and something's going to get insurrection, and something's going to get insurrected.
Yeah. That
was not an insurrection. That was just nonsense. And when you see, all the
trespassing.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, when you see, my buddy, well, a couple of my buddies actually that went in there, and then they told them to get out, and they left.
Really?
But the door was open.
Seemed like they were kind of welcomed in.
They were welcomed in.
Yeah.
And it's really the whole thing is just crazy. But I mean, if there was going to be an insurrection, these militias, they would have had their stuff together. I mean, there would have been some real stuff. This was just a bunch of yahoos that went in there because the door was open. Now, granted, I think most of them, when the cops said leave, I mean, if you take a look at those videos, and there's thousands of hours of the video, I don't know who it was, who the idiots were pushing against the police. But, to my knowledge, a lot of those folks, mysteriously that had masks on were not arrested or apprehended.
Clay Higgins says that there's over 200 FBI plainclothes people in that crowd. So
yeah, and again, they go, "Oh, Gerard, and you guys are conspiracy theorists." No, I think it's just look at the facts on it. Really.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Let me pivot to the entertainment side of what you've done. You've worked with comedians, actors. You've been in radio for a very long time. Who do you think, if you had to put, talent, however you would describe it, how would you describe that it factor that you've seen people and you're like that person's got it throughout the years? Like, what would you say is like the it thing?
Well, I don't know. When I started my career in the music business 100 years ago, and Bill Lowry was a great mentor of mine. He was one of the, big music producers and great music publisher and stuff. And he could actually find that it factor there. He could just give me something and say, "Hey, I think I found it. Go shop it." As far as like finding that it factor in talent, comedy is really more where I cut my teeth on that once we started the networks. And I don't know, just people who are, there's two kinds. There's one, I think, that is really highly talented at structuring a joke. I mean, they live for the architecture of a joke. And that's like a Seinfeld or a Jay Leno or someone like that.
Yeah.
A writer.
Mark Norman.
But they're also great performers. You think about, Leno's a little cheesy, but he's really good at the architecture of a joke. Seinfeld will work years on one joke, So I think there's those. And then I think there's the other ones that are just characters. Think about Robin Williams. What a character he was. I mean, he was a character. His jokes, nothing structured necessarily about him. Dice, of course,
Sebastian
same kind of thing.
Maniscalco.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. So you've got a bunch of great ones out there. So to me, I think they kind of come in two forms. I think you've got that, the architect and then the performer.
Yeah.
And then when you get that magic in a bottle that's a combination of the two, that's when that's probably the it factor.
Yeah, the combination of those two, I would think Andrew Schultz is a good combination of those two.
Yeah.
Gillis, obviously, I've never seen somebody, he comes off as dumb, but he's a brilliant joke writer. Brilliant, really, really smart
who's somebody who he was also a very close friend. Bob Saget was an amazing architect of jokes, and he would work and work and work and work and work and work. But he could also walk it out. He had, there's two personalities. He had Bob Saget, and then you had on stage, dirty as, just filthy, a lot of people.
Dirty.
I remember, I would go with him and sometimes emceed some shows, just helping him kind of work some material out. And it was kind of funny. I remember one time at the Improv in Tempe, and this guy named Dan used to own that club. It was a big club, a great club. And I remember going over there one time and for a couple of days, I think, and they, people didn't realize how dirty Bob was.
Yeah.
And
it ain't Danny Tanner,
so
homie.
people would call in. Yeah, this is before you bought tickets on the air. People
I remember the hysteria around that.
Well, they would call in this 600 seat room. They would call in to reserve their tickets. All right, this is Gerard. I want to reserve 6 tickets. Okay, now you know that Bomb Saget is very dirty. This is a very dirty show. Yeah. No, it's very, and there's no refunds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We've seen Full House.
Now, then they come to pick up their tickets, and as they hand them the tickets, they say, "Now, Gerard, you know that this is a very," and there's a fucking poster. This is an X-rated show. This is going to be very dirty. And then the show starts, and inevitably, 6 or 8 people up and out.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, again, but his filth was funny.
Yeah.
It was
You're at a comedy
very
club. I don't
funny
understand that people get
film.
up and leave. Like you're at a comedy show. These are words.
Yeah.
Like what's happening here? Sticks and stones might break my bones, and if you don't like it, you're a cunt. Like what the what the fuck? You know, like it's just words. All women, right? White women. Was it white women?
No.
White women
No.
are a plague to comedy. Giovanna, you're a plague to comedy.
The
Plague.
The man bun
I
types would
believe
walk
all
out
women.
too.
I believe
know.
all women. No woman has ever lied.
Never.
No. Believe all.
No. They're remarkably forgiving and understanding if you say something that they don't like. Also, they're really good.
Yeah, like the people in.
Yeah, they're like-
some
they're
of the
like-
people in the comments.
They're like this is a show for everybody. This isn't me. This isn't about
They did not
me.
like Gerard zooming in on their.
On their hoo-ha.
on their
Not a fan.
hoo-has.
Not a fan. They weren't a fan. I don't know why. I'm just trying to give the art the attention it deserves.
You got this great studio right here, just very close to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you guys do a beach Zoom cam?
No, sir. That's.
So you could do that
that's a sin.
right then and there. And I
That's
think
a
what you
sin.
do,
What do you think, Chris?
the subscription.
Let's write it down.
I'm all the way
I
out.
think this is
Let's
sinful.
write it down.
Boca hoo-ha cam.
Nah, sinful.
There we
Yes.
go. I like it. Sinful. No,
Sinful.
we would never do something like that. Chris, if there's any comments, go ahead and read them at any time, man. We want to give a shout out to everybody. Who you got in the Super Bowl, Kent?
Kansas City.
Kansas City?
Yeah,
Kansas City,
that's a
San
pick right
Francisco.
there.
Don, what's the line right now? What's the line? now?
It's minus. Well, right now today it's San Francisco minus 2.5.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So you get Patrick Mahomes plus some points. I always
Yeah.
like that.
Patrick
I
Mahomes
always like
plus
that.
points.
Wow, I always like that. So, do you ever
Who you taking?
do you ever put any shekels on the
Kansas
on the
City
old?
for show.
Never have.
You're not a sheckler.
I don't know enough about sports. I love going to the games. I know some team owners.
I'm about to bet this.
You know, players that I've met. I've had somebody's had to tell me, "Oh yeah, that." I'll tell you. You want to hear a crazy one?
Sure.
So I'm getting. This is. Remember back when Southwest Airlines, you would get on the planes and they had the 2 front seats were facing this way, and then that, and then
Right,
all
right.
the other seats were like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and then the
Oh, I
back,
never
then
saw
the
that.
back rows were like that too. The back, yeah, same.
Yeah, like
seats,
those old cars were like
Really?
the back rows,
Yeah.
like facing.
Like
So-
the New Jersey Transit.
So I'm
Yeah.
so I'm getting on my partner Howard Levine and I, my business partner, greatest dude on the planet. This is back in the 90s. Getting on a Southwest flight going from Burbank to Oakland, and get on the plane. And again, I'm not a sports fan. I love sports, but I'm just not a fan. I don't follow it. And you know how sometimes you're waiting, people are putting their shit up on the thing and whatever, and you're waiting and you catch somebody's eye. Well, there's this dude sitting there, and he's got this, this outfit on, this black kind of a, jump outfit kind of thing.
Oh yeah, shout
And
out
he's
Black
got
History Month.
And he's got, no, he's not a black guy. And he's got these rings, and it's all football. It's, Oakland. And so we catch eyes, and I said, man, you must be a hell of a football fan. And
His name was Al Davis.
Howard comes up, he's behind me, and he knows this stuff. Howard, and says, sadly, loud enough that Al heard it, he says, "You dumb fuck, that's Al Davis." And I went, "Mr. Davis, Kent Emmons, really?" And so, and then as we're walking back, I said, "Who's Al Davis?" And he goes, "He owns the fucking team." I had no idea.
Win, baby, win.
Now, so get this.
Just win, baby.
Just win,
So
baby, win.
we're getting off the plane, and he's waiting. He had a whole entourage that was somewhere back in the plane where we were, and he's waiting. So when I get off the plane, he's there. So I went up and started, and we laughed because he heard him say, "You dumb fuck, that's Al Davis." Now, cut to a party in San Francisco, a New Year's Eve party in San Francisco. He's there, and he remembers me.
Wow.
And I walk in, and I just
It's like, oh, you're that
bust
dumb
it.
fuck.
No, he did. He walks in, and I said, "Hi." He goes, "You dumb fuck. I'm Al Davis."
That's cool.
But
That's
yeah, but I
wild.
just didn't know who the
And
guy.
the Raiders were in L.A. You have no excuse.
I know.
You have no excuse.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow, that's hilarious. You didn't know who Al Davis was. But if you did know who Al Davis was.
Well,
you know what I love about Al
then
Davis?
he came on the radio and so then he became a friend, and
Oh, no
I know
shit.
Mark a little bit, the son, but Al was just such a character.
I heard
you know?
he's an
Yeah,
awesome dude. And
Oh,
he
he
used
was
to, you know,
great.
he used to pay his players fines. He wanted them to be dirty. And
Is that true?
If they he got in big trouble with the NFL for it. If they got unnecessary roughness penalties, he would pay the fines for them.
Hell yeah.
Is that really true?
Yeah, the old Raiders were
that.
Wow.
bad mother sucker. That was the whole just win baby thing, and the NFL was like, you can't do that. Then they're not fined. And Al
Wow.
Davis was like, I got your fine right here.
Yeah.
He would tell me, what are you going to tell me I can't do with my team? I own
Yeah,
the
with
team.
my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are my players.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to do it through a shell company for sure. Like, whatever. Yeah. Fuck you. You know, become ungovernable, baby. And becoming ungovernable takes fuck you money, Kent. And if you can get fuck you money
Can you get it? Where do you get it?
with betus.com. You go
Really?
to betus.com, and if you use the code, if you sign up and you use code SNT125, you want to put some shekels on the big game, you want to take Patty Mahomes plus points, your first deposit, they will match it up to 125%. So if you put $1,000 in, you get $2,250 to play with. You take Patrick Mahomes and the points.
Christian, break out
You're
the
gonna
calculator.
double that money.
All right, now,
You're
so
going to
if
turn
you put-
$1,000 into
Christian, you got a
$4,000.
calculator
All right,
already?
so Gerard, let me ask you
Wait,
about
time
this.
out real quick. The final score is going to be 31-21. I said this on the last episode.
Yeah.
Oz Perlman, the mentalist, predicted this in the beginning of the season. I think that's over. I think it's 7,000 plus 7,000. So what is that? 7,001 odds,
No,
or to 100.
to 100.
All right, so it's-
700 to 1 odds.
All right. So if you put in 1,000,
Mhm.
you get 2,225.
250.
Okay.
So
250,
you'll have 2,250 total to bet.
All right, and then plus 7,000.
Multiply that by 700, Dom. What do we got? What's 2,250
Christian Dom.
times 700?
God damn.
Let's go, Dom. 1.575 million. I'm just saying. We're just saying.
All right, now, so
You
tell
wanna
me
be a
about
millionaire?
the site. What's it called again?
BetUS.com.
All right, so
BetUS.com. You go. It's a casino.
Yep.
And it's a sports book, and it's offshore. And there's Marcellus Wiley right there. Everybody loves Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah.
So 30 risk-free bets, but for you use our code SNT125. Your first deposit 125%. You put it down. If the mentalist is right, you're going to turn $1,000 into 1.6 million.
When it happens, I'm just going to be standing there like this on my TV.
Yeah. Then we'll be on Southwest with the ghost of Al
Told you.
Davis.
I told you.
Hey man, so you were running in these high circles with high level people doing cool stuff. Did you ever run into Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes. And
Yeah.
you want to hear something crazy?
Ooh,
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So, I didn't know who he was, and I was dating this girl some in New York, and
She was
you
over
know,
18.
She was over 18.
100%.
Yeah, this is going back like 20 years ago, but she ran in really high society kind of circles and stuff. And she was 4 or 5 years younger than me. I would have been 35 at the time, 34, 35 at the time. Great gal, really sharp gal, still a dear friend. But she ran in those circles. And so I would go to some of those parties, and I was.
Her name was not just Lane.
It was not Jizz.
Okay,
it was
good,
not the
good,
Jizz.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but you would see this guy, but you saw all kinds of people. I mean, but it was always like the same party set. You'd go and it was the same people and stuff. I didn't think, of course, I didn't know the guy. I didn't have that kind of money and didn't know, but he would be at these parties and didn't think much about it. And then when all this Epstein stuff came out, I called her, my friend, and I said, "Is that the same guy that?" Because I was a Friars Club member, and he would come into the Friars. I said, "Is that the same guy that?" And she goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Did you have any idea?" She goes, "No." She said, "I thought he was a pervy kind of guy, but I had no clue." So literally, no one knew, or at least I certainly didn't know. No one knew until all this stuff broke, and then I think people went, "Fuck!"
Oh shit.
Like literally,
Yeah.
because he was running with some big people,
Yeah,
like
I
really
would've-
big people.
I would have been upset if I didn't get invited to the island. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me? How come I didn't get invited?
You don't have a a really bad proclivity.
Yeah, that's what it is. And you know what?
I think
there was probably a whole blackmail operation, as it turns out, right? So,
Yeah.
like, you know, they can't. What are you going to blackmail me for? My life's an open book. You can't blackmail me.
I did see it was funny today because, you know, Clinton apparently was on that roster many times, you know, and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
it's hilarious. 38 times he flew
Yeah.
with him, and then when they
Yeah.
asked him, they were like, "So do you know Jeff Epstein?" He was like, "Who? I don't know Jeff Epstein."
So,
And it's like the guy you flew on his
Nah,
private jet
no.
38 times. What?
yeah,
No.
never seen this guy. What are you talking
This is
about?
my brother. We're business partners.
Well-
We're together all the time. We've been on like 4 flights.
Did you see the? I was just scrolling through. I think I told you when I landed this, you know, here in Florida this morning. Was just scrolling through Smart News, just kind of looking through the headlines, see what's going on. And one of the articles, I think it was in like Life Times or some kind of magazine, and the headline was Bill Clinton blames pressure of the White House on the Monica Lewinsky affair.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting here going,
It's a great
Yeah.
stress reliever.
no, I'm just thinking, I mean,
It
just
do
the,
be
the,
really
the, the
stressful.
pressure of the possibility of having to fuck Hillary that night. I mean, to me, that's
But
the you know,
BJ,
I think
a
it's
BJ in
kind
the
of
OO?
Yeah.
A BJ
Yeah.
in the OO? That's a good way
Hillary
to
and Monica, he
tranquilo.
certainly has a type, huh?
Can
Like,
you imagine walking upstairs to that?
Oh,
I mean, Monica all day long.
well,
seriously.
it would have been nice to like walk in and see, you know, Hillary and Huma Abedin just
Billy
going
has a
after it,
political
you know? Yeah, it's-
arrangement.
Maybe
going at
Huma
it.
back in
Their
the day, but not Hillary.
marriage.
I don't think Hillary's ever had that day.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
No. I don't like seeing that Podesta is back in the White House, man. That I don't know what you think about Pizzagate and all that other crap, but man, there's some weird shit going on, man, with that stuff. I don't know.
I saw a stat that there's 50 million human traffickers in America.
what?
Yeah, I saw a stat.
You want to hear it? I think you're probably
50 million? There's
Yeah.
only 330
Well-
million Americans. There's no 50 million.
People are connected to it.
here.
Are they counting like strip clubs and shit like that, or
Like people who are
nightclubs?
connected in this nefarious, fucked up shit.
So
Wow.
the guys that did that movie was with a couple of the, you know, we have
Sound of
SC
Freedom?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so we have SCI, Safari Club International. We have our national convention right now in
Yeah.
Nashville. It started on Wednesday, and I was with a couple of those guys who were on those teams. They still do that kind of stuff. I didn't realize that it is somebody said this is fucking staggering, that it's a $500 billion business.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
they
dude.
said because you
In
can sell a
America,
bag of
just
cocaine
in
one
America.
time. You could sell a child fucking
Yeah.
5 times a day
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
10 years.
This is what.
Yeah,
well,
and,
this is
and
what.
it is a
more.
real problem. And when you got guys like Podesta, and you do. By the way, you're going to see some things breaking very soon about some politicians that's going to be shattering on both sides. But
pedophilia and stuff.
yes, and in D.C., I mean, you've got that weird culture anyway. I mean, you've got this weird underground sex culture
I
that,
think a
that
lot
does
of them
go on,
are pedophiles.
and I think so too.
they
I think
have
so,
to
too.
aspire to that type of power to allow
Yeah.
themselves to live the lifestyle they desire.
But
It's fucking evil.
Yeah, and think about that $500 billion industry. And apparently a lot of it goes on right up and down here. The I-95 corridor goes up and down because people being smuggled in all up and down the coast. And then you've got these.
America's got the most. Where people
Yes.
here are like the biggest users, the biggest
Yeah,
pedophiles. They get stolen maybe from other countries, but they're sent here.
and another
Yeah.
thing that I heard, and I've heard this from quite a few people who are actual border agents,
Mhm.
they have got orders from the federal government, whoever that dark cloud is of the federal government that these orders come down from. They're separating young women and young men out at the border. They're separating, and these people are disappearing. And I think it was one of the
Who's
guys.
separating them? The border agents?
Well, by order of the federal government. But what's interesting is I heard a stat that there are over 20,000 young people who were called out, separated, not accounted for.
Oh my god.
And somebody believes it to be 150,000
just disappeared.
gone, fucking gone. So there is, again, I love immigration. I mean, I think, like Trump said, we should have a big golden door there. And when people come in here and they bring things to our country, talents, money, whatever it may be, we need it. But the fact that they've opened these, there is more to it than just going,
Oh, dude.
let them in.
Well,
There is so much
This was another thing
bad
that
side. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on.
This is another thing the border agents were talking to us about at
SHOT
SHOT Show. Speaking of the human trafficking, they will steal a kid, 5-year-old kid, and have the kid walk across the border, say it's my kid, to get that person into the border. They get into the country, they fly the kid back.
They send him back.
And send him back with another guy.
Wow.
They can go 2-3 times a day, being
Unreal.
the same kid, and hey, this is my father. This
Unbelievable.
is my father.
Parent.
And this is that kid's life.
Well, and that's an industry. And somebody was telling me that these mules are making, get this, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. Not a month, a day.
Yeah.
Every one of those people is worth between 10 and 20,000 that they get across there. So if you're bringing 10, 15, 20 people a day across, that's shit. That's more money. Who makes that? Maybe Bill Gates makes that kind of money. I don't know. But who makes that kind of money? It's insanity.
Did you have any concerns with your daughter becoming an actress because of everything with child actors and actresses?
No, that the way that she got that gig was way different than, because she had never acted before. So she didn't go through the usual channels that a normal actress would. So I was not concerned about that. And you take a look at those producers, Steve Levitan, I think, is one of the most stand-up guys in Hollywood. He ran a clean ship. There was none of that bullshit to worry about. So that I didn't worry about.
Yeah. But I'm sure you had to be around. I mean, did you ever meet Harvey Weinstein or anything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody. It
was kind of a well-known thing. I remember Courtney Love talking about, what was it, at the the Academy Awards, and back in like 2000, they stopped her. They were like, do you have any advice for young actresses? She goes, yeah. If Harvey Weinstein wants to discuss a role with you at the Four Seasons, don't go.
Well, and that was where we would run across him. Is like he would always be, around. He had a place out there too, but he was down at the bar at the Four Seasons a lot, and he had just hot and cold running tail all day long. But he was really just a disgusting kind of guy. And of course, I wasn't in the film business. I know the television business well, so I was usually there. That was a place for television executives to meet up. But he was just kind of a prick. And, there was a group of us out there that really were fun and light and had a good time. Many of us had known each other for years and years. And then there was that kind of elite group. And of that elite group, Harvey was just one of those, just a prick. He wasn't fun to be around. He wasn't the kind of guy that, and there were some of those big guys that were really fun, but he was just not one of them, And it was a different circle than us, and just personality didn't really mix with a lot of our posse. We come out of the lowbrow shit. We come out of TV and radio. So,
Yeah, you haven't been completely corrupted by Tinseltown.
No, not at all.
Why do you think LA does that? Why do you think LA kind of like is a breeding ground for that sort of insidious behavior, it seems like?
Well, I think that people really want to, they want to make it, so they feel like they have to fit in, and they'll do whatever it takes to do it. I mean, you take a look at many of the folks out there that have made
very
it.
Vulnerable people.
Yeah, and again, 99.99% of them will get a little acting gig here and a little acting gig there. In the meantime, they're working at Coffee Bean or they're working at whatever they're doing, to get by. And but I think that they feel like they have to line up behind whatever the narrative is to be one of the people.
One of the in crowd.
Yeah, and that's on the lower level side. On the upper level side, I think that as those folks go higher and higher, it's kind of the same thing, except it's just a little higher up the food chain. But, for the most part, I mean, Hollywood gets a pretty bad name, but for the most part, a lot of those folks are really good people.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of them are really good. They're very caring, and but you have so many of them that are bad, and they're so bad that it makes
when
publicity.
they go bad.
Yeah, and but for the most part, especially the television business is a really much different business than the movie business. The movie business is, considered much more highbrow, and it's a whole nother bigger thing. And again, I know a lot of folks in that business, but was never in that business. But I think it's
dying.
dirtier.
I think it's going to get worse because it's dying.
Yeah.
The movie business, unfortunately, I love movies, but I don't see a future for the movie industry as it is right now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think they're going to have a tough time with it. Yep.
They got to pivot to streaming. And the thing is, back in the day, movies were so much better quality, the production values, the acting, the writing.
Well, they weren't
television's better than movies now.
They weren't trying to push crazy messages, whether they're left wing or right wing. They weren't. They were just
entertainment first. The art was first.
If it's a comedy, let's fucking make it fun. Let's make them laugh. Let's have fun. Let's get outrageous with the storylines. Let's have a great time. Now it's like, well, we want to make it funny, but we really can't say that, and we also have to get this point across that it's about some social issue. And it's like, no, just fucking laugh, man. Let's go back to go back to you name the movie, Blazing Saddles or Animal House or whatever.
Shot.
And by the way, people say you can't make those movies today. There has never been a better time to make those movies right now. Look at the comedians that are taking off.
I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you
The comedians
more.
that are taking off are totally non-PC.
Yep.
They're doing their thing. They're having a great time. They don't have a filter. And so
But Kent,
if
there's
there
no
are,
money. There's no money. Nobody's giving us the money to make these movies.
you know what it is? Go out and raise the fucking money. There's a lot of different ways that we couldn't do it years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think, now with crowdfunding, and I don't mean the cheesy kind of, hey, would you send me $5?
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a whole sophisticated pipeline of. I actually own a piece of an investment bank that does some of this stuff, and
Gerard's got some great ideas.
I got some scripts,
well, Gerard to me is one of the greatest comedians of all time, and I think I've met them all. And he really is. But one, you don't need those budgets like you used to have to. So I mean, what used to cost $20 million to make a film, and that's a cheap film nowadays, is $1 million.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
You don't need to make $20 million comedy. You can make Tommy Boy for $1 million.
Yeah, and you know what else you don't need? Permission from Harvey Weinstein.
No.
So you don't.
But distribution is still very difficult.
It's got to be a big relief for you not knowing that you don't have to go blow Harvey Weinstein to get that money.
If I was going to get $20 million in a lead role in a Quentin Tarantino film, I'd blow Harvey Weinstein. I mean, what?
Why don't we get the film rights
It's really
to that?
brave of you.
Yeah.
Whatever. I can't imagine I'd be good at it. I've never done it before, but I'd give it the old college try.
I bet you'd be good at it.
You think I'd be good at it, man?
Yeah, I believe in you.
I got calloused hands. I don't know. The
I
beard.
might be into that.
Yeah. I've never understood that with gay guys. Like, why have you ever looked at a guy? Come on, man. What are you doing here? It's fucking gross.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you had to be gay with somebody, who would it be?
I actually promised my bunghole virginity, if I ever decided to go that way, to Bobby Trendy. He was on my show one time, and on the radio.
Interesting that you immediately went to taking it, not giving it.
Well, that was only that was offered up, but I knew it would never happen. But he said, listen, he said, you've never thought about it? I said, no, I've never really thought about it. It's really not my thing. He goes, listen, we're friends. He had the Anna Nicole show at the time, and it was a big thing. And he was the decorator. He said, would you promise me your backside or whatever it called it, virginity? I said, Bobby, it's yours. If it ever happens, it's all yours. So,
did you see any of the Cat Williams, Shannon Sharp stuff?
No.
Oh, where Cat Williams went nuts. Pull up some of that. Where I made it in Hollywood for over 30 years, and I still got my butthole intact. Like, he's talking about like P. Diddy was trying to P. Diddy came on to him. I guess P. Diddy.
Really?
Yeah. Like you.
Well,
if you get a chance, next flight, Cat Williams on what is it? It's his podcast. What do they call it? Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp.
Really?
I gotta
Dude,
check that
2
out.
hours.
Send me a link to that.
Of flame.
You know
goes
what?
after Steve Harvey, crushes.
Okay,
Dude,
send
flame.
me. I'm driving over to Naples tomorrow morning, so I'm going to drive right across Alligator Alley. That's just enough time to listen to the whole thing. Send me a link.
Oh, you got
So
it.
you know what's interesting is you talk about gay Hollywood, and there are a lot of straight folks who are gay out there and all that, and no one cares. Just no one cares. But you know what's interesting about a lot of gay people is that they're very conservative. You've got the log cabin Republicans,
yeah.
and these are some of the greatest
they're
Republicans.
Gay, they're not stupid.
Well, you know what it is? What's interesting is people always throw the gay community into the hard libs, and these are some of the greatest conservatives on the planet. And I've never figured out why and they're highly embarrassed for the most part with these, the crazy left wing, the nutty shit. They're not on board with this trans stuff and whatever. And so it's very interesting that, a lot of, and I would venture to say 80% of the gay population really has pretty conservative values at the end of the day,
Well, Kent, this has been really incredible, man. Tell the people where they can find you and what's next for you.
Well, you got to get out of here. Do you want to hang out a little while longer?
Hang as long as you want.
I know Christian's got to go, but
I'm gonna open up my Fresca.
I'm
gonna open my Fresca?
We don't pull anything up. Open your Fresca, man.
Do it.
Fresca's a beautiful thing.
I love Fresca.
Christian, you could run and then
No, because you got to upload the files and everything. Yeah, he needs his laptop. Yeah,
all right, I was trying to make shit happen.
I appreciate you.
I know.
Brother.
I know
appreciate
everyone's
you.
enjoying Kent.
Well, we got Kent. You're down here all the time, right? We got to have you back on.
Yeah.
Is that cool? Did you have a good time?
Dude, with you guys, always.
Awesome.
Always.
It's good. I feel like we just scratched the surface. You're going to leave the people wanting more. So
Let's have
we'll
a
have
good
to get
time.
you back
And by
on.
the way, this studio is just knockout. I love it.
Thanks,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
If you ever want to use it when you're down here,
this
man,
is
just
your
let us
South
know.
Florida
Oh,
studio.
dude,
now,
I
bro.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll put a big Crave sticker up there for you.
I'm in, man. I'm in.
So tell people about Crave. What do you got going on?
You know, we've been working for years on getting a news network up, and we were getting pretty close to launching. We were staffing up during COVID at our studios in Los Angeles. When COVID happened, it was stay-at-home order, blah, 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 blah. After the third visit from the city and county people where they said, you know, if you show up here again, you're supposed to be at home, you're not supposed we just said, F it.
Yeah.
We're just going to move it to Tennessee. So we moved offices, studios to Tennessee, and we're going to launch it. We got studios in Tennessee and right up Palm Beach, too, right up the street.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So it's going to be a news network that's live. You can call in, FaceTime in, news at the top of the hour.
Unfiltered, uncensored, correct?
Unfiltered, uncensored.
Beautiful.
The tagline is real news, no bullshit.
What a
and that's
relief.
the actual thing. So it's going to be a great – so if you took like a Fox News, CNN, the authenticity of a Joe Rogan or Patrick Bet-David or you guys or whatever, and even having you guys popping in on us, that's what it is. But it's real news, no opinion, unless you come on to give your opinion.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, and it's going to be a great time. And you'll see a lot of drinking probably going on, a lot of stuff, a lot of debauchery on that news network.
Beautiful.
Cannot wait for it. Mickey, why don't you take us out, bro?
All right, guys. Been Kent Emmons with The Truth, Gerard Michaels, Mickey Gall, Slick and Thick Show. Bye, guys. Love you. Big kiss.
Check out TWC.HEALTH. Check out BetUS.com. Check out Battle Bars, Nevin Sunglasses, and Brute Seltzer. We love you. We'll check you guys next week. Peace.